This segment is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. It's everyone's favorite time of year, and that's tax filing season. And while the deadline isn't until April 15th, for most taxpayers, there's no need to wait or stress. Here to lower our stress levels with expert tips, key updates, and everything you need to know to file with confidence this year is Jackson Hewitt's Chief Tax Officer, Mark Stieber. Welcome. Great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Very exciting time, and the clock is ticking.
Yes, it is. And beyond taking away the stress, what are some of the other benefits of filing early?
Well, 100 million people get a tax refund every year, and it's typically $300 billion with a B. This year it's probably going to be higher because of some of the recent changes. Call it $400 billion changing hands. So you don't have to be a math wizard to know if you file early, you get your refund early. If someone owed you $5,000, you wouldn't wait till the summer to go collect it.
True.
Why would you wait if the IRS owes you money? Yeah. Now, on the other hand, some people say, oh, I'm going to owe. My side hustle did well, my crypto did well, I don't want to pay the man any earlier. Well, if you file early, you find out exactly what you're going to owe and know how many Starbucks trips you're not going to make, but you still don't have to pay until April 15th. Filing is separate from paying. The big reason to file early, however, is the bad people out there. And when $400 billion is flowing through the IRS system, a lot of people will kind of try to steal your tax refund by stolen data, data on the dark web, data breach data. Maybe you just left last year's tax return on the company printer. Anyway, when you file your tax return, you lock up all that data. You lock up your name, your social, your significant other, your dependents, and they can't steal your refund. So file early, get your money. File early to find out what you're going to have to pay. You still don't have to pay till April. And file early, most importantly, to lock up that data. It's just a best practice. And you should have all your data. We were kind of chatting.
Yeah.
Hope's not a strategy. If you're waiting on a document, a W-2, it's not coming. It may be lost. It may never have been sent. You may have moved. Go get those documents if you don't have them and file that tax return.
Yeah, that's one last thing you want to wait to the last minute for is your documents as well. So a lot of great reasons there. You've convinced me. All right. What about new tax laws that people should be aware of this year?
Yeah, 2025 is the biggest tax law change in my 40-year experience history. There was a big bunch of legislation passed last summer, and it's not the typical tax legislative changes with tweaks and things. There's brand new items. There's a new deduction for tips, $25,000 deduction in qualified tips. If you have overtime as part of your compensation, $12,500 per person. If you're just 65 or older at December 31st, a new $6,000 deduction. And if you bought a car, a new $10,000 deduction for the interest on the loan. You don't have to itemize, you just have to qualify, but you do have to put them on your tax return. They're not going to be automatically sending you more money. And that doesn't even count life changes, got married, had a child, kid going to school, started a side hustle, and that whole list. And then a lot of other changes that were already set to happen. So it's a big year. Your tax return this year will not look like last year. Do not plan to use that as your roadmap or you'll leave money off the table.
Good to know. That brings me to another question, which is why should someone work with a tax professional, especially because there's a lot of new laws out there and it can get complicated.
Well, the least of which is the reduced stress. You do cut your own hair generally unless you're using a Flowbee. You don't wire your own electrical, and you probably don't even do your major plumbing. So why would you handle your largest single financial transaction just based on what you might know? So a pro can help you both lower your stress and find some of those additional deductions. Because as I say, the one mistake people make most often is thinking, well, I'm pretty close, that's okay. The government will figure out the rest and send me more money. That's not how it works. You leave it off, it stays off. You leave off something that's supposed to be on there, you may get a knock or a letter. But the most important part is not to leave off a benefit that is your money, because there's no self-correcting mechanism at the IRS or on your taxes.
All right, don't leave money on the table. Work with someone to make sure you're getting all of that.
Right.
Okay. Now, what if someone has already filed a tax and they realize they made a mistake?
And that happens every year for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
You're watching a program like this, you're going, there's a new deduction for auto interest?
Right.
Well, yeah, good news, bad news kind of a story.
Okay.
Good news is you have 3 years to fix that return and go get that money or get that credit or get that deduction. Kind of bad news, the IRS also has 3 years to come look if you left something off that should have been on there. Like you didn't get that W-2 or you didn't get that 1099. Oh good, I won, I don't have to put that. That's not how it works. If you got the document, great. If you didn't get the document, it's still income and the IRS probably did get the document.
Sure.
So a 3-year window to fix your return, and a good pro will look over a return you've already filed, see if it's right, or find a way to get you more money back if you missed something.
All right, sounds great. As we wrap up here, I understand you have a double your refund sweepstakes. Tell us about that.
Well, when you started, you said it pretty accurately. Boy, people dread taxes. So we've got a couple of things. This year, we've doubled your refund up to $10,000 for 2 weekly winners, another smattering of additional winners. So if you file with Jackson Hewitt, you're automatically entered. And if you're getting a refund and you're selected that week, as 2 winners are, you'll double your refund up to $10,000. And we've given away about $750,000 in that program It's a lot of fun. And the other reason to file early is it's a weekly drawing. The earlier you file, the more weekly drawing chances you have. If you wait till that April 7th week, you get kind of one chance.
Yeah.
So file early, run the sweepstakes. Maybe you win, maybe you won't. And even if you owe, we still have a prize for those people too.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. You've convinced us. All right, there are many Jackson Hewitt offices in the area. Find the nearest location to you by going to jacksonhewitt.com or call 800-234-1040. Again, that's 800-234-1040.